right, it says it's preparing.
We're good. We're on.
We're good.
All right. Welcome to the Deal Doctor live stream. It's Monday, 1 o'clock. And today I have a special guest, Justin Pelham, who is in our onboarding function. What's your exact title, Justin, if I may ask?
Yeah, so my exact title is I'm the Agent Experience Coordinator here with 5-Star.
Okay.
So I make sure agents have a great experience when they are here at 5-Star or coming to 5-Star.
Okay. And what do you do on a daily basis? Let's say I decide to come to 5-Star. You're the person along with a team of people, as I understand, but you're the kind of the point person on welcoming them, getting their licenses in place, providing them some orientation and so on. Can you flesh that out for me?
Yep. So I work with the recruiting team, and once we have an agent that's looking to come over, we establish their transition plan on what that looks like coming to 5-Star. And then I also assist them with moving their license to 5-Star, setting up all their accounts and resources, going over orientations, and making sure that it's a smooth transfer with the association, with the state and their licensing. And I follow them for the next 30 to 90 days after they come to 5-Star to make sure that they have all the accounts, resources, their business cards, their sign panels, and all the support they need once they come to 5-Star. And then once someone's at 5-Star, I also help, with their licenses, whether they're applying for a new license or setting up a brokerage, anything that has to deal with the LARA website, I'm pretty well versed in.
Okay, cool. Because a lot of times we get the question, how do I go about getting a broker's license? And so we're going to talk a little bit about that today. And the first question I have is, do you have any stats on how many of our licensees hold an associate broker's license? I mean, I'm one of them, but how many others are there?
Yeah, so we have about 100 associate brokers here at 5-Star.
Okay, so roughly, not 1/10, but about 1/7 ish.
Yep, about 1/7.
Okay, and in your conversations with agents, I know my own motivation for getting a broker's license way back a long time ago. But in talking with agents, what are they telling you about their reasons for getting a broker's license as opposed to just a salesperson's license?
Yeah, a lot of people get that associate broker's license because they want to, increase their education, take that other class to learn the industry and to be at the top of their game. And saying, hey, I hold an associate broker's license is one way to do that. The other implication that a lot of agents do is they get that associate broker's license so they can set up their own LLC as a brokerage for tax purposes.
Okay, and I'm going to cover more of that. We're going to cover more of that in a bit later. But one of the things that I found, and one of my motivations for getting a broker's license myself 30 some years ago, is that confidence comes from knowledge. When we go out and meet with a client, we are confident because we have the knowledge, the real knowledge. And that real knowledge comes from learning. As my dad used to say to me, don't bother learning the tricks of the trade, learn the trade, which I think is a really good lesson in life. If we actually learn the laws, the rules, the multiple listing requirements and so on, that we can actually be more confident that we're giving our clients good advice. So do you have the requirements to get a broker's license, to go and sit for the exam and get the broker's license? Can you cover those with us?
Yeah, so in order to get that associate broker's license, you have to be not less than 18 years old. So you have to be 18 or older. You have that education requirement where you have to complete 90 hours of approved pre-licensure education, which includes 9 hours of civil rights law and equal opportunity in housing. And then we do have a list of approved sponsors that we can share out as well. If you are in possession of a law degree, that is equivalent of 60 clock hours of real estate education, including the 6 hours in civil rights and fair housing. So that does apply towards that 90 credits that you need. If you're in possession of a master's degree in business admin or finance, that again is considered equivalent to 60 clock hours of real estate education that you can apply towards that associate broker's degree. If you have a bachelor's degree in business or finance, that's considered to be equivalent to 30 hours of real estate education. So that can be applied towards those 30 hours. One of the big requirements that a lot of people don't know when they're going into it is that you have to have been a full-time real estate agent for 3 years prior to applying for your associate broker's license. So that 3 years can be in real estate as a salesperson or a broker, a licensed builder. And so once you have that, then you can apply to take the exam. Once you pass the real estate broker exam by PSI, then you can go ahead and apply for that license on the LARA website.
So are there any exceptions or waivers or substitutions to any of that? Because again, one time, a long time ago, you could like take a CRS course or an ABR course, GRI or whatever. There were certain courses that were required in addition to the broker prep course. Has that changed? Does it make it easier or what at this point?
That I am unsure of if there is that equivalent that they can take. I haven't encountered that in my interactions right now.
Okay, and they may have changed that. I don't know, but it might be something we can check out for the agents out there. Now, you talked a little bit, touched on setting up an LLC. And first of all, I'm going to create a disclaimer here that we're not tax advisors. We cannot give you tax advice, agents. So what we do know, however, is that some agents have established LLCs so that they can pay directly into their LLC from the commissions. The tricky part here is that you can only do that if you have an associate broker's license. Is that correct?
That is correct. Yes.
So if you're going to set up an LLC for tax purposes, what are the steps that have to be taken, and in what order?
Yes, so there is an appropriate order to do this. We found out from experience that if you go in a separate order, you can actually kind of not have a license for about 4 to 6 weeks.
Oh. So we don't want that.
We don't want that, and we've found that out. So we do have a step-by-step process that has worked flawlessly for us since. So the first thing that you want to do is once you've passed your broker's exam, you want to go onto the LARA website and apply for a non-principal associate broker's license for 5-star real estate. That is a 6506 license. So those are the first 4 numbers. Once you apply for that, there is a review period of 4 to 6 weeks where the state reviews that to make sure that they can give you that license. Once that license has come through, then you are a non-principal associate broker with 5-star. So that's established. Now, let's say you wanted to set up an LLC and continue down that path. The next step is to set up your LLC and have that established. Once you have your established LLC, then you can go on to LARA and apply for your real estate company broker license. Now that you will want to apply for before you apply for the broker's license of that LLC. So you'll want to apply for your LLC brokerage license, which will essentially turn your LLC into a brokerage. Once that has been established, then you can apply to be the principal associate broker of that brokerage. So that way you have a license with 5-star and you're the broker of your LLC, so that it can be done and 5-star can pay you directly through your LLC. The problem that we have run into is if you apply for your principal associate broker's license the same time that you apply for your LLC, it will pull away your license from 5-star and say that you just want to be a broker of your own LLC. So you're not really with a brokerage, and there's not much that can be done for about 4 to 6 weeks.
Okay, so step two, let's pretend that I want to make my new LLC the the ABCDE real estate company, and and that's going to be my LLC, ABCDE LLC. And so I decide to go to the state, and I say I want to make ABCDE my LLC, my LLC. And I do step two before I do step one. What happens then when I go to do step one, which is apply for the actual broker's license?
So if you've done step two, that is okay, as long as you just say that you are setting up your own brokerage license, your own LLC as a brokerage. And when you apply for your non-principal associate, you want to make sure that it's being done under 5-star real estate, not under the brokerage that you're trying to set up, because again, that will pull your license away from 5-star.
So the sum of this section here is step carefully, take one step at a time. And if you have questions, reach out to our experts like you at 5-star who can help walk agents through this process. Is that what I'm understanding? Is there anything that we can post on our Facebook Connect page which gives this sort of step-by-step process?
I will have to see if we have something developed. I'm not sure if we put that into an actual document form, but I do have emails that if you're interested, I can send that to you that does have that broke down step by step. And we can put that into a document and share that.
Okay.
But there are specific steps that you don't want to skip, because again, it can jeopardize your license for about 4 to 6 weeks if we misstep.
Now, in talking with agents, following up on this, have you found that agents have come back to you at some point and said, I'm really glad I did that because it really gave me more confidence, more knowledge out there in the marketplace. I get to put, associate broker on my business card.
Absolutely.
Have you got any of that feedback?
Yeah, absolutely. And it's been with those who have recently gotten their associate broker's license and have changed their marketing to include that. The average person out there really doesn't know the difference between the associate broker and just being the sales agent. So when they put that out there, they can be confident with those clients to say, look, I am an associate broker. I've taken the extra courses, so you are in good hands with me. And they've had great responses from their clients with that when they've taken that extra time to do the education.
Cool. Well, Justin, thank you. And to our agents out there who may be watching or want to watch this later, if you have questions, please post them in this thread and we will answer them throughout the day, on to the evening, tomorrow, all through the week, whenever we see those pop up. Any other final thoughts before we end this live stream today, Justin?
The biggest thing is, if you are going to attempt to do this, reach out for those steps. Yeah, we'd love that you take advantage and do things yourself, but we'd like to guide you through it because the LARA website isn't user friendly. So I'm in there all the time and I go through these steps regularly. So just reach out. We'll be more than happy to make sure that you're all taken care of, and those licenses are all where they need to be.
Cool. Justin, thank you for joining us, and we will. And we're going to come back with another conversation about other educational opportunities out there, including certification courses like CRS, ABR, ePro, GRI, all of those kind of things, because there's a real market for that kind of education as well, in addition to the associate brokers training and licensing. So, Justin, thanks so much for joining us. And to all of you, thanks for joining. We'll see you next week.
See you later.